Welcome to the channel. My name is Steven and I'm glad you stopped by. I hope you enjoy the video, so let's get right to it. Well, let me try this one more time with the correct microphone by telling you about the situation in our life at the time, how we ended up temporarily homeless. Basically, we were living in a nice little duplex in a decent part of town, paying our rent on time, no problems with the landlord whatsoever. All of a sudden, out of the blue, we get an eviction notice giving us 1 month to vacate the property. So not understanding why that was happening, we contacted the landlord to ask why we were being evicted, and her story was that she was having to move out of the place she was renting, and because she had a dog, she felt that it would be easier for her to evict us and move into the duplex that she owned, and that it would be easier for us with 2 small children and no pets to find another place to live. Unfortunately, as you know, to move into another place, especially if it's not a rat-infested slum that'll take anybody that can come up with the rent, you often have to pass a credit check, and you also typically have to have first and last month's rent plus a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent, and we simply did not have the resources to just pick another place and move in. One thing we needed was time, which we didn't have because she wanted us out within the month. So the way we solved the immediate problem was we decided, hey, it's nice and warm out. It was mid-June, as I recall, and we could just move into a campground and live in a tent for a couple of months, and maybe we'd be able to save up some money and find a place that we could move into. And so we made that decision, and we moved into a 9x12 tent, and we lived for a few months there in the campground. As it turns out, financially it wasn't any cheaper living in the campground. The only difference was you didn't have to have first and last month's rent and security deposit to move into the campground. You could just pay the first week or month, boom, you're in. So that's what we did. Unfortunately, we weren't able to save up sufficient money to get into another place, and this campground was only open through the end of September. So essentially we were in a situation where we were not going to be able to stay there beyond that point, and we didn't have the money to find a decent place to move into either. So by the grace of God, her mom and dad, who were renting a house the next town over, they said, hey, you can come stay here temporarily until you can find a place. And so that's what we did. If it weren't for their hospitality, I'm not sure what we would have done. As a result of them taking us in, it ended up costing them, because their landlord did not like the fact that they took in 2 adults with 2 small children, and so they got evicted and had to go find another place to rent themselves. But at least they were willing to step up and allow us to move in with them, which gave us some additional time, and eventually we did find a place that we could rent that met my wife's standards of not being a rat-infested slum. It was actually a nice little apartment on the 3rd floor of a building that had just been renovated. So I mean, it was brand new. It was in great shape. We loved it there. But I guess the moral of the story is all homeless people are not drug addicts and drunks that are there because of poor decisions. That homelessness can happen to people who you would never expect it to happen to, simply for the lack of being able to find a decent, affordable place to live, when something happens. So needless to say, that was a lesson learned, and to the extent that we could, we started trying to put back money a little bit at a time to build up a reserve so that we could handle the unexpected things in life. I'm retired now, so as Forrest Gump would say, that's all I have to say about that. Once again, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd mash that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos. Thank you.